Hello everyone! Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Good afternoon to everyone. And again, this is Richard Solomon of my YouTube channel, Cha and My Narratives, The Stroke Survivor. Okay, for the past 2 days, I've been doing vlogs about vaccines. Not only vaccines, but COVID and how COVID infects people, and what are the solutions in eliminating this COVID virus, right? And as I've said in my previous vlogs, there are so many um, things that's been used, or medications, which we call protocols. The doctors call protocols, like there's a lot of them. There's antibiotics, antiviral, antihistamine, anti-inflammatories, so on and so forth, and which includes also like ivermectin. Only recently, some doctors are repurposing it, but the ultimate solution for this, as I've also said especially with these recent vlogs, is the use of vaccines. Because what our doctors, the World Health Organizations, Department of Health of each country, the FDAs, what the most the ultimate objective that they want to do is to prevent the spread of this virus, and prevent again also further infections. Okay, so what is the solution for that? It's vaccines, or vaccination, global vaccination. Okay, now for again, speaking about vaccines, there were two things I pointed out in my previous vlogs po, no? Number one is, I said I am amenable with vaccines ever since. As I've said, being a pharmaceutical guy, professional medical representative before, we are, because of the nature of our work, because we're going to hospitals, clinics every day of our lives, for like me, for the past 20 years, for my 20 plus years of stint as a professional medical representatives. I go to hospitals, clinics, and meet doctors, talk to them, and that's my daily life. So of course, we, as like we're just like frontliners, we have to be vaccinated, because you never know if you get infected just visiting doctors in hospitals, because some pathogens are airborne. You never know. Okay, so I've been vaccinated several times, even to other vaccines that I received when I was a child. So, and so vaccination is not new to me. That's why I said I am in favor of vaccination. The only thing that I was this point number two is, the only thing that I'm not in favor of is, why is it they are injecting, they've just developed vaccines, and they're already directly injecting it to people, which is very short period of a time, like for their clinical trials. Okay, because as far as I have learned, and I was trained in my pharmaceutical companies before, my learning is, vaccines are developed in not only 5 years, 10, 15 years or more before before it is launched, whatever vaccine that is, before it is launched, and that be given to the public for public use or consumption for a particular disease. Ganun po katagal yung ano niya, no, from 5 to 15 or even more years before it is given to people. Whatever that is. Measles, mumps, rubella, tetanus, polio vaccines, HIV vaccines, Zika, Ebola, whatever that is, dengue, malaria. So all of them have vaccines, and even have hepatitis vaccines. So and now COVID, okay? So that was my question. Why is it given so fast? Now, after so many days of researching, because for 2 days now, as I've said, vaccine is not new to me as a professional medical representative before. I've been researching every time, every day, and I've been watching, reading a lot of articles, medical articles, journals, and especially with YouTube now, until my answer to that question has been answered just yesterday. And I watched this video, and I was amazed with this video. I hope I could try to explain bits and pieces of it. For now, I will share to you that video that answered my question, which makes me convinced now that why is it that these vaccines, new vaccines now, are given to people in a very short period of time. Well, now we have advances in the technologies like nanotechnologies, and maybe they've used that. And now let's watch this. Okay, I'll just flip the camera, okay, so you could better understand what I say. Because, by the way, before that, because in my trainings before, the last vaccine that was made the fastest, which was 4 years, that was the fastest, was in 1967. That was the year I was born. Okay, I didn't know that then because I was just born. But that was the last time a vaccine was developed the fastest for 4 years. Because in 1963, a new type of this sickness then, or illness, was discovered from the daughter of a certain doctor in the States, in the US, which is what you call mumps. That's the reason why there was a vaccine that is called mumps, measles, and rubella, or the MMR. It was developed, that was the fastest developed vaccine ever, which is only 4 years. But now it's breaking records. The COVID vaccines now are breaking records because it's only like months, not even years. Okay, let's watch this. I'll try to I'll turn off first the lights. Okay, so here it goes.
1963, Dr. Maurice Hilleman was woken up one night by his 5-year-old daughter. She was complaining of a sore throat, so Hilleman looked her over and determined she had the mumps. Unable to sleep, he was struck with an idea. He swabbed her throat for a sample, drove to the lab, and got to work. 4 years later, his mumps vaccine was approved. It was the fastest a vaccine had ever been developed.
That's true.
Until
that's
now.
True.
New vaccine against coronavirus.
And it's incredible how quickly this vaccine and others have been developed.
This was done in record time.
This is extraordinary. This is the
fastest vaccine development in U.S. history.
In 2020, vaccines for COVID-19 have shattered previous records, going from development to approval in a matter of months. That speed was driven by billions of dollars and a global effort. But in some cases, it was also because of a breakthrough in vaccine technology decades in the making. Something that could shrink this timeline going forward and change how we make vaccines altogether. Vaccines teach your immune system how to respond to a threat, and traditionally there have been 4 ways to do this. The 2 most common types of vaccines work by exposing you to a weakened or dead version of a virus or bacteria. The weakened virus won't make you sick, but it will teach your body how to fight the real thing if you're exposed to it later on. This is how the measles and annual flu vaccines work. Another, less common type of vaccine does a similar thing, but uses an inert version of a toxin instead of a virus. The most well-known version of this is probably the tetanus shot. This fourth type of vaccine works a little differently, because it only uses a small part of the virus instead of the whole thing. Common examples of this would be the hepatitis B vaccine or the HPV vaccine. Some of the new COVID-19 vaccines also rely on these traditional methods. For example, one COVID-19 vaccine currently in trials uses this fourth method. It only uses one part of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, known as the spike protein. That spike protein is what allows the coronavirus to enter your cells. When injected into your body on its own, it's harmless, but your body will still recognize it as a foreign threat and launch an immune response to fight it off, which is enough to teach your body how to fight the whole virus. But isolating and preparing that spike protein for a vaccine is a process. Researchers first had to modify it, then multiply it a lot, and then assemble the vaccine itself in a lab. In fact, one thing that all 4 of these types of vaccines have in common is that they all require growing and transporting large amounts of live pathogens in a lab. And that takes a lot of time. A vaccine goes through many steps before it can be approved. But before anything else, it has to be developed. And working with live pathogens makes that process a lot longer. On average, it takes 5 to 10 years for a vaccine to reach FDA approval in the United States. Most COVID-19 vaccines have gotten through this process a lot faster by overlapping the different phases of human trials and starting manufacturing early. But some vaccines have also found a groundbreaking way to speed up this first section by shifting some of the work out of the lab and into your body. Nearly every function in the human body is carried out by proteins, so our cells are constantly manufacturing them. To do that, they make a single-stranded copy of DNA. That copy is called messenger RNA, or mRNA. Each strand of mRNA holds the information on how to make one type of protein. The cell reads the mRNA, follows the instructions, and makes a protein. And that's where these 2 new types of vaccines come in. They contain instructions. Researchers who developed these new types of vaccines, called mRNA vaccines, started with the genetic sequence of the virus. They also decided to focus on the spike protein we talked about earlier. But instead of assembling and purifying that protein in a lab, they identified the part of the genetic sequence that creates it, and then took a much faster route by synthesizing mRNA and using that as the vaccine, which saved months of time and money. Once inside the body, the cell reads the mRNA and begins to make harmless spike proteins of its own. From there, your body's immune system recognizes the foreign threat and sounds the alarm. This is how the new COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer and BioNTech and Moderna work. But the main drawback with an mRNA vaccine is that mRNA breaks down very easily. It has to be delivered inside a protective fatty barrier and kept ultra cold, which isn't super ideal for a vaccine that needs to reach all areas of the globe. Another effective new-to-consumer kind of vaccine works similarly, but uses DNA instead of mRNA, which is much more stable. The COVID-19 vaccines from AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson are this type. It doesn't require the ultra-cold conditions, but it does have its own drawbacks. To get the DNA into your cells, researchers use a harmless virus as a carrier. But over time, your body will build resistance to that virus, which means future doses using this carrier will become less and less effective, and the carrier will need to be updated. But in terms of efficacy, cost, and speed, these 2 new types of vaccines have broken records. These new vaccines are a groundbreaking way to elicit an immune response. And while they'll have a big impact on how we fight COVID-19, their real impact is just beginning. A vaccine that delivers specific instructions to your body opens up a whole new world of vaccine technologies and disease treatments for things like cancer or HIV. Finding the vaccine was a turning point for the pandemic. But the pandemic might also be a turning point for vaccines.
Okay, I would stop from here, but I would go back to the slides wherein it shows the four phases of vaccine development. The four phases of vaccine development was actually like the first one or second one feature vlog that I have already made like few days ago, because the development of vaccines actually passes through, as I've said, four phases, and it was actually mentioned here. I'm just looking for the particular slides. I'm sorry. Please wait. Oh, okay. This is the presentation that I'm trying to go back to, and that I would like to show you again. I've made mention in one of my vlogs that the four phases of the development of a vaccine, the four phases, the discovery and development, which is the first phase. I will show you this, and there's the what you call the in vitro, the in vivo clinical trials, the licensing, and the distribution. So I'll show you that now. I'll just flip over this again.
A vaccine goes through many steps before it can be approved. But before anything else, it has to be developed.
There, as you can see, the first phase is this one, as I've said, discovery and development. Then the preclinical trials. This is what I'm saying, the in vitro studies, or the studies, or the what you call the test tube studies, or test tube trials. The trials of development of vaccines in the lab, using, of course, the vaccine, the candidate vaccine, and the pathogens, or COVID-19, for example. So this is the second phase, and then the third phase is what you call the in vivo. But this in vivo trial started with animals first, okay, before it becomes they now cross to doing human trials, and this human trials has subjects like from 40,000 people who volunteered to take voluntarily do the trials, to be part of the trials, of course. And the last phase is the licensing and distribution, already manufacturing, distribution. So this is the four phases, and this would take years. This would take years up to the last part, which is the licensing, manufacturing, and distribution, or the selling of these vaccines already. And what is my question then was, how fast? Why is it so fast that they just developing the virus, and after developing it, or they have developed it, it's like they're doing already the clinical trials and the human trials, just like as one, and we already proceeded to the fourth phase, and that's wow. That is the question I had before, and now it was explained here. If I would just advance it again, I think this is the part wherein, because of advancement in technology, this is what happens.
Faster by overlapping the different phases of human trials and starting manufacturing early.
Yeah.
But some vaccines have also found a groundbreaking way to speed up this first section by shifting some of the work out of the lab and into your body. Nearly every function in the human body is carried out by...
So that's it. That actually answers my question, my previous question. Why is it being given so fast. They, I knew that they just developed those vaccines recently, and why they are already giving it like directly to us now. It's like we are just like the guinea pig. But now it was explained, and I've seen it because of the advancement in technology. Well, so, I would be since this is a published video by Vox, by the way, the owner of this published video, I would put the reference link of this video, published video, in the description of my of this video, of this vlog of mine now, and so you could watch it again. Okay, the whole of it, it's just almost a 7-minute video, and I was just trying to explain things here because it answers actually the second question, or the most important questions that was bothering me ever since, why they are giving it already to people when it's like a year or even lesser. And as I've said, and I was right, that from my trainings before in my profession as a pharmaceutical professional medical representative, the last recollection I've had of the fastest vaccine that was ever made was the mumps MMR vaccine, mumps, rubella, measles. I think measles, mumps, rubella. I think that MMR, yeah, measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, which was made only after 4 years. That was the fastest then. That was the record then, and it was made from 1964 to 1967 by that certain doctor, whom his very own daughter had mumps. He's actually the one who did the formulation or the development of that vaccine. That was the fastest. And now with COVID, things have changed, and I could imagine now that there will be so many vaccines now, whatever diseases or pathogens again that would come to this world, the development of other vaccine, of those vaccines in the future will be even faster. So that answers now my question. So I'm just sharing this to you, so that this is just part of the series of vlogs that I'll be doing about vaccines. Okay, so with that, again, this is Richard Solomon. Please do subscribe, like, share if you may, but hit the bell button so that you will be notified of my incoming vlogs. Okay, thank you very much. Bye for now.